Dear Internet, it is me, a video. Yay, since you guys have been asking for one. For me, since I just got through doing an animation, everything feels like I just did that. I just put up a video. But I guess yeah, it's been a while since I've done anything consistent. I've kind of in terms of like YouTube monetization stuff, retention is a big thing where you have to make sure that you keep putting out videos so people keep getting used to you being around, but you don't really have to worry about that whenever you have a Patreon, so I don't worry about that too much. I've been considering doing an LP though, but I'm not sure what it's going to be, so we'll just leave that as it is. I'll figure out something eventually, I'm sure. But for the time being, let's just draw something. And that's what the theme of this video is going to be. I don't really know what it's going to be drawing of. I don't care what the theme is. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to make a video. And more importantly, I'm going to actually enjoy doing it, because I'll talk about this in a bit. I know what I'm going to draw. I'm going to draw Winnie from Ghoul School again for like the umpteenth time. And I'm going to draw Winnie from Ghoul School because actually let me show you guys Winnie from Ghoul School. There's a few of them. There's that one I did, and a few of them. There's like a million of them. And then there's this one, and of course there's the one with Santa, and the one where she's got a quote-unquote fever. I shouldn't have said quote-unquote. That makes it seem more suspicious than it actually is. And then there's this one, which is very suspect. No, it's not suspect at all. She's eating s'mores. I've explained this before, haven't I? In a video? No? Well, she's eating s'mores because it was Halloween whenever I drew this. And I wanted to be funny. So I did that, and it's like, yeah, it's s'mores. Wasn't it funny how I did it? No, it's not. And I think I might have... Have I ever done a video about Winnie on this channel? And I'm sure, like, there's several of you in the comments now. Plague. There have been 6 of them. You keep making them, and you always forget. And then, of course, there's Mutual Omaha. But you guys get the idea. It's Winnie. Do you guys even know, like, how many of you even remember what Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom is?
Is presented by Mutual of Omaha, the company that pays.
You guys probably have no idea what that is. You're far too young. I used to watch reruns of that whenever I was younger. Okay, but you guys get the idea. That's Winnie from Ghoul School. Ghoul School is a kind of crummy little... I want to say crummy. I want to be mean to the guy, but it's, you know, it's something that obviously was not, oh, this is my heart and soul, I'm bearing it. Like, he wasn't like that. So, you know, it's just a Scooby-Doo movie that was like back in the early 90s, I think. Wasn't like it was particularly amazing or anything, but it had a cute premise of, like, Scooby. I don't give a shit about Scooby, but Scooby and Shaggy, and I think even Scrappy, for God's sakes, before that was like the second to last one before they realized, oh, people hate this character, and so they like took a gun and just like just skull meat everywhere. Spat on my thing. By the way, I had my window open because I'm trying to relax, and I don't really care about the quality of this video because fuck you guys. So if you hear like crickets chirping and the gentle sound of like rain falling or some sort of, you know, horse shit like that, that's what that is. Or more importantly, if you hear like boofs, like wild boofingtons, that's just dogs. It's boofs is what that is. Okay. But I guess the theme of this video is I'm tired. I always get like this after a major project. I wouldn't call it a bad habit, it's just business, but oh god, tax. My second quarter tax stuff is coming up too. I forgot about that. See? Boofingtons. They're barking because they hear other dogs barking like 20 miles away. And they're dumb animals. But I always get this way after a major project. I guess this is what the theme of the thing's going to be. I'll talk about that more in a second. But I always get this way after a major project. I get really tired because just having to concentrate on getting a big major project out, while it might not be like physical, like I've talked about different kinds of labor before, since I've done all different kinds. And they're all very different. Physical labor is very different from like mental labor or anything like that. Very different things. In many ways, I'd rather prefer to do physical, because physical, you can just, you know, it's just physically tiring. It can actually be satisfying to complete something in some ways. because yeah, it doesn't really exhaust you mentally. You can listen to music while you do it. You can just, someone says something like, put nails in this table or whatever it is, and you can just sit down with a hammer and just nail shit inside of it, and you're done. It doesn't require any real mental strain or anything. Whereas with a creative project, you are constantly like, you're just riddled with doubt all the time. You're not exactly sure if something should be the way that it is. It's like you're having to design the table from scratch as you're trying to build it. So even though it's not physically laborious, it's very mentally exhausting. So after you get done with a major project, then I tend to get that feeling of like, especially since I do Patreon rewards right after I get done with a major project, because I now have time to. Especially this time. This time there were way too many people asking for things, and even as I was doing them, more and more people kept asking for more things. And lately, for some reason, more and more people have been, like, just randomly, people that have no idea even who I am or what I even do, somehow, I mean, when I know how they're finding it, but they, like, find my DA or wherever I host my files to, and they start sending messages. Do you do commissions? I want this. Here's my following thing. And then I think the worst are whenever I tell someone, like, they'll ask, do you have a Patreon or something? And I'll say, yeah, that's the only way that you'll get a commission from me ever, because they're so tiring. And I have other better things to be doing, like masturbating. And they, have a few questions after that I ignore. But they, of course, want to know, oh, where's your Patreon? And I'll tell them where their Patreon is. And then instead of going, oh, okay, thanks, I'll go do that right now, they will then send like 5 or 6 messages right after that because they're so excited about their idea. And I don't care. Anyways, just interacting with people can get very exhausting. Having to deal with the barrage of Patreon rewards is also exhausting. Doing the actual animation, mentally exhausting. So you kind of hit this point after doing one of those things where you're not physically tired, but the very idea of starting on something else is just so exhausting to you. It's not even like doing an LP. An LP is just a matter of, I don't feel like doing that today. Which I've experienced that too, obviously. That's a different kind of work too from what I do. So they are different. But you just don't want to do anything. Like, I hit that point whenever I get through the major project, and it's always a struggle to me to be able to get back in the saddle again, so to speak, and just start working. And I don't really have anything else, like, I don't have a family, I don't have loved ones or anything like that, aside from parents that I have to keep from hurting themselves because they insist on working in physical labor with, like, sheep and shit whenever they were born in 1950, so whatever that is now, 67, yeah. It's probably, I don't know. But, anyways, point being, there's just nothing really going on in my life aside from goofing off and work. So, if you get done with a lot of work, and you now have to think, what do I do next? What are you going to do? More work? In my case, yeah, a lot of the time that's what I end up doing. Like, I consider streaming to be work. Streaming on Picardo I actually sort of enjoy. So I tend to, after I'm done with that sort of stuff, I tend to stream a lot on Picardo, which I didn't do as much this time around just because I was so exhausted physically because of all the things. But anyways, you guys get the idea. I bring all that up because people ask me sometimes, how do I find the motivation to draw? Which is kind of a weird question for me because I've never really had problems finding motivation to draw. It's more motivations to do things like an LP or uploading to the channel or streaming on Twitch. For me, drawing is more of an escape. Drawing is the ability to just not concentrate on anything. Like right now, I'm barely even paying attention to what I'm doing. To not concentrate on anything and just do something, explore an idea. And maybe, I don't know, I guess people tend to draw things that they don't have, or draw things that they will never see. Like maybe that's the reason why I draw a lot of Xeno sort of things, because oh, that's weird. There's nothing like that in real life, and so that's what I do. Or maybe if I just got laid a lot more, then I would just stop drawing entirely. You think that's true? But you guys get the idea. What I like about Winnie is this is not even her like canon appearance. Actually, hold on, let me pull up an actual picture of her on Google or something real fast, because her actual like canon design. One of my pictures is the second result if you type in a Ghoul School. That's funny. But her actual physical design, by the this is all the major characters. Whoop, too big. But that's Winnie right there. Winnie the werewolf. This is Elsa, Sabella, Phantasma, Winnie, and Tannis. And I can't remember who her name is, and there's a hand over there, and there's a dragon that's not depicted, and also there's a corpse, and a dog, and a pedophile. So you guys get the idea. Winnie's original appearance, kind of weird. She has this weird, like sort of pig nose almost. It's very strange. Actually, here's probably a better one over. There we go. Those are girls that were new that came in at the school at the very end of the movie. But she has this kind of weird, I don't know, it looks more like a bat nose than anything else. She's very strange. I don't know why they drew her that way, but anyways. But this is the off-model one. I don't know who exactly, I probably mentioned this before if I've actually done a video of this that I can't remember. But I can't remember who actually, I don't know who started the actual sort of redesign this kind of appearance. I've kind of got more known for drawing Winnie, just because I've drawn her so much and people like this particular way that I draw her. But yeah, I'm not sure who actually started it, and it doesn't look anything like her. Anyways, I don't even know why I brought that up. But point being, there's no point to that. Hold on. You guys keep asking for ways to increase your motivation in drawing, whatever. Okay. I'll say it this way. You can't force yourself to have motivation for something. You just can't. Like people that want to know, how do I get motivated in writing? How do I get motivated in learning to play the piano or whatever? It doesn't matter what it is. How do I get motivated in beating my beat? Whatever your hobby is, it does not matter. Because if you don't want to do something, then you're not going to do it. Unless you feel like you absolutely have to. And if you feel like you have to, then it ruins any love that you have for it. That's one of the reasons why, like, if you're an artist or you're just, maybe your hobby is, I don't know, maybe you have like a hobby in astronomy or something, and then you get a job in astronomy. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Then it can actually end up ruining your love for your one hobby that you use as an outlet, because it goes from being a hobby into being a job. And because it's something that now you have to do, you no longer have the motivation for it, right? And this is kind of a weird tangent, but the same thing sort of goes along with things like marriage or something. Where, like, one of the number one problems with causing any sort of breakups in a marriage, like divorces, usually is money. And I would say specifically, and I guess this is more of a topic towards girls, because men are going to know this right away, but the thing about guys is that we spend a lot of time internally worrying about the things that we need to be doing, the things that we're expected to do. We have like provider mentalities because of our evolution, right? So even though, like, if you have money problems in the family between the two of you, the guy is probably thinking about it constantly. Even if he's like goofing off or whatever, it's usually because he's trying to find an outlet, because internally he's doing absolutely nothing except for worrying all the time about it. So a common problem with couples is that they will start bickering about money, and the guy starts to resent her because that's all he's thinking about, and she's supposed to be his outlet, his means of escaping and being able to cope with reality and so on, the things that couples do with one another. And she's not providing that role anymore, and she's actually serving to do the opposite. All she does is just remind him of all his failures and whatnot. So from the male perspective, that's often a cause of that sort of thing. So he ends up wanting to escape the relationship, or he wants to find another outlet, and that's not going to be with her. It's probably going to be with some other lady, or it's going to be with video games, or furiously beating his meat, or whatever it happens to be. So, point being with that weird tangent is that you need to have outlets. You can't ruin the things that you enjoy by polluting them with other things. So that kind of goes hand in hand with drawing for me. If you are drawing something, if you do what I do, you make like animation or something, the fact that it becomes work-related means that it ends up in many ways being ruined because you can no longer really enjoy it. Because it's something that you have to do. It's something that you have to worry about for reasons other than enjoyment and development. And if you're trying to find motivation with yourself, if you're trying to figure out how do I enjoy writing, how do I enjoy drawing or playing the piano or whatever, use it as an outlet. Like don't make it a job that you have to do. Don't make it something that you feel like is necessary. If you don't enjoy drawing on its own, if you don't enjoy playing the piano on its own, if you don't enjoy astronomy on its own, then you're just not going to enjoy it. Just move on and find something else. One of the things that I've often... this is one of the reasons why I stopped writing. The primary reason why I stopped writing, of course, is because this took off. The YouTube stuff took off, and I figured out, I can actually... maybe if I try really hard... which ended up not being the case. If I try very hard, then maybe I can provide for myself using YouTube, because if the YouTube stuff didn't take off, I don't know what I would have done, because I just absolutely hated life before that, because there was just nothing going on. Like, no relationship, no outlet, everything was work, everything was worrying about how to provide for myself, what my future was going to be. I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen. And I didn't enjoy any of it. Case in point. So whenever the YouTube stuff took off, I had to drop a lot of things out of my life just to be able to focus on this, right? Which, that's fine because I enjoy drawing and whatnot, so it wasn't really a big deal. But one of the things I had to give up was writing. Now, it's not as big of a deal now because one of the secondary reasons why I stopped writing is because one of the reasons why you do write is because you have... I've said this before. Because you have ideas in your head that you need to get out. You have... It's not even that. It's not even things that you need to get out. It's you have ideas in your head that confuse you. You don't know what they mean. You don't know why you think the things that you do, or you do, but you want to explore the idea further. And writing is basically just like you sitting down and trying to get these things out of yourself. You need to get them out. Like, that's the reason why you write. It's just you need those things out of your body, out of your head. And writing is the easiest way to actually explore those ideas. So if you're writing and you're not learning something about yourself and the world around you, then you're not writing correctly, as I've said before. People do not write to tell you things. They write to tell themselves things and for you to listen and also learn in the process. And the writing process often involves a lot of drafting and rewriting, like the Sonder thing I'm doing now, the Godforge project. I kind of decided to shelve that and to go back and rewrite it again, because I felt like even though I finally developed all the ideas that I wanted to develop, the actual unity of those ideas into a central theme is not what I want it to be. So even though I could tell a story, it probably wouldn't be a very good one. And just because I don't really have the time to be able to focus on writing, storytelling, and everything, it may end up never being done. I have no idea. I want to make sure that it is what I want it to be, right? So anyways, as far as your motivation and everything goes, I guess this is my central point with this. In finding a motivation, a lot of the times the reason why people are motivated to do things is actually because they are suffering internally, or they have some sort of need that's not being fulfilled. So if you find that you don't have any motivation to draw, then I guess that means you're fine, right? Or at least that you have not found the means to translate that media that you're looking at, those things are, to be something that can fulfill that role. Like, one of the reasons why a lot of people become attracted to one another is not necessarily because of their physical appearance or even their personality. It's because, oh, this person to me is a reflection of something that I'm missing. Like, I knew a girl back in, like, whenever I got out of high school, and she started dating this guy, and like I asked her why she was dating him or something, and she just said, I just need this. Like, she was admitting, yeah, it's not going to last, but I need this right now. Because he's like the opposite of the problems that I'm having. Because there's like a divorce and stuff going on in her family and whatnot, or something like that. I forget what it was exactly. None of my business, one way or the other. But people are just like that. They need... People have needs, they have desires, they have ways of looking at life, and they need to have the holes in who they are filled with various things. And I guess in a lot of ways, drawing to me just fills a lot of... Like, whenever I get bored, I draw. Whenever I don't really get sad or anything anymore, I kind of gotten to the point where I'm just kind of neutral all the time, which probably is alarming. That's probably something I should be concerned about, that I don't really emote too much anymore. But used to, like, if I got depressed or something, I might draw or things like that. So to me, I guess it is an outlet. Hold on, I need to think. Because she needs to be... I had the idea of her just looking up. Nah, I'll just leave it at that, I guess. I was going to put like a... Well, I'll have her... If I can, I'll put like a hand patting her head or something. That would be cute, right? I've done it before, but fuck you. The whole point of me doing this... Like, the reason why I'm drawing Winnie... I don't remember if I even mentioned this. Is just because I just find it relaxing to draw Winnie. Because I could draw like a Dragon Ball character. I could draw Steven Universe characters or something. But those styles don't really mesh with how I like to draw. Like, you can tell just looking at this. I'm a very messy drawer. I draft very messily. I'm kind of geometric. I began traditionally. I mentioned this before. I didn't begin digitally. So, like, instead of doing like strokes like this, I do strokes like this. Because that's how you make a stroke traditionally. You have to build up a line so that there's no undo button in real life. So whenever you want to make a line that looks straight, like digitally, you can just and just keep undoing until you get it right. But traditionally, you can't undo, so you kind of have to just slowly... Whoop, see, even then, I got the ability to undo then. But you kind of just have to do that until you get it just right, unless you're using a ruler or something. But you get the idea. Why the hell did I bring that up? Oh, but the reason why I'm drawing Winnie is because the way that I draw her is kind of more my style. Like, I usually don't really have a style, per se. I'm gonna make his hand bigger. I don't really have a style, exactly. But, oh yeah, this one I got rid of. I don't have a style exactly, but usually whenever I do try to draw in a style, it's very sketchy, very kind of messy looking. So let me actually see what that ended up looking like. Yeah, I really don't like the hand being there. I'm just going to get rid of it. Yeah, you don't have to commit to anything. But anyways, that's the reason why I'm drawing Winnie and why I'm drawing this style right now. Because I just want to relax. I don't want to worry about making a video. This is the hole in my life that's being filled right now. I'm not really bored, but I need to make a video. And right now I'm in the mental state of I don't want to make a video because I view that as work. And I'm just so tired of doing nothing except for thinking about work all the time because, there's just nothing else going on that I don't want to do that. So this is my this is my way of not thinking about it while also working at the same time, if that makes any sense. So if you want to find motivation in anything in life, I guess the way to do it is not to destroy your own life so that you need to fill holes in your life or anything like that. But it's just accept it. If you don't want to draw, then just don't draw. Don't worry about it. Like, why do you want to draw in the first place? I'll say it this way. I often hear people say things like, "Oh, I'm so envious of their ability to play piano," or something like that, or "Oh, I wish I could draw like that," or "Oh, I wish I could write like that," or just I want their skill that they have developed over years and years of doing something, right? It doesn't matter what it is. I wish for their ability to refurbish cars, whatever stupid thing it is. I think I'll flip her. There we go. Keep her this way for a while. But the thing that a lot of people don't realize with that, I'll work this up over later. The thing a lot of people don't realize about that is that in addition to learning that skill came from years of usually some sort of trauma or being forced into doing something that they didn't want to do, or they do it because, like in my case with my writing, is because whenever I was writing, I was very depressed, didn't really have a focus in life. I didn't know what I was doing. There are a lot of things that I couldn't control, like money. Even though I don't like money, I don't like thinking about money, and even now I don't like thinking about money. I hate it when it comes up. Whenever I have to think about it, it's just miserable to me. And a lot of my writing ended up being about things like that. It was about things like isolation, the inability to do things on your own, the like wage gaps, and the failure of the American dream and stuff like that. Being born with privileges over other people, not like modern SJW privilege things, but just like financial privileges and things like that. And once I kind of got past that, I no longer felt the need to write about it, right? So it's not as though people are writing because, "Oh, I have this knowledge, I should instruct people because I'm so smart." They're not like that. It's more just, "Oh, this stuff is troubling me all the time. How do I get it out? I'll write about it." And that's why people write. So you guys just, if you don't have that, if you don't have those sorts of troubles that you feel like you need to get out, and writing or drawing is the only way to get rid of those ideas, or it's like one of the... I'm not saying that I'm constantly troubled whenever I'm drawing, but I've kind of got to the point where I draw all the time anyway, so it's just relaxing to me. Like, it's something I developed whenever I was younger, so now I kind of just like drawing. Fun fact, back in high school, before probably even college, I never drew women. Doesn't that sound crazy now? But I just drew like cool guys doing cool poses. And that's pretty much the only thing I did. And they were always static, like full body or 3/4 shots, because I thought, "Oh man, this outfit would be awesome looking." And all of them would look like the same thing. They were all awful. I didn't develop pretty much any of my drawing ability, as it is now, what little I have, until probably like my mid-20s, I guess. Everything before that, either looked fine or is just shitty. Like, even now, I'm like, this on its own is not like a high skill level or anything like that. But it's what I enjoy. And apparently it's making me some degree of money. By the way, ever so often, I'll mention this, I get messages from people on Patreon like, "Oh, I've got to stop giving up money because I'm having money problems." And I always mention this, and you never listen. I how many times do I have to say this? If you have money problems, do not give me anything. And that $1 a month thing exists for a reason. Like, someone that donates someone that donates $20 in 1 month or something, and then they stop, why didn't you just donate $1 for 20 months? Like, that's almost 2 years. You could have done that. And you would have had no problems at all, because it's like buying a candy bar. Like, you could have done that. That's way easier. But whatever. You know, people do what they want to do, I guess. By the way, another thing I really like to do whenever this is another reason why I don't really like making videos like this exactly. Like, I hesitate to anyways. Is because I also like to listen to music whenever I'm drawing. Some people, they can't. Like, they need absolute silence whenever they're doing it for some reason. I don't know why. I guess because I feel like they need to concentrate. Me, like, I have not even been paying attention to what I'm doing. Like, I looked up just now, it's like, oh, I have a drawing. But I haven't really been paying any attention, because it's just so autopilot with me. But some people need absolute silence for whatever their reasons. If you feel like you need absolute silence, then get absolute silence. But for me, I like listening to music. I like listening to, like, this background chatter. That's one of the reasons why I bother watching LPs at all. A lot of the times I don't even pay attention to what they're saying. I can't remember anything that they said at the end of the video. I don't retain any of it. It's just, I just need that white noise. That's pretty much it. And talking and music kind of gives me that. Another thing I like to do is to go on rants. And that's one of the reasons why I like to listen to, like, LPs or podcasts or stuff like that. Is because they might say one thing, and then while they're talking, I'll just start talking to myself and exploring an idea and just start ranting to myself. Which goes over pretty well for videos, I guess. And that's sort of what I'm doing now. Like, I'll be doing this. I won't be using my speaking voice. Like, I have to use my speaking voice for videos, but whenever we're drawing, I'll just start mumbling, yeah. Because just the fact that I'm, I guess, verbalizing is enough while I'm actually, for the most part, doing most of the work in my head. But you guys get the idea. But I guess the point being, do what you need to do. Drawing is your space. For a lot of people, maybe not necessarily for you. Oh, I never finished that idea. So if you need to be able to find your space, find your space. But, sorry, I never finished my initial idea, or my thought from earlier. A lot of people want, to learn to play the piano, or they want to draw, or whatever. But, of course, they don't realize all the years of, toil and suffering that went into it. And I don't mean just, like, learning it. I mean, like, the years of, you're going to learn to play the piano, but Mom, I don't want to learn the piano. I don't want to go outside and play. No, you're going to learn the piano. And even that, like for a lot of artists, they're inwardly just fucked up all the time for whatever reason. Like, even like me, I'm not really messed up anymore, but, you see what my life is. It's just, I'm out in the woods alone, drawing shit. And I don't have a wife, I don't have a girlfriend, I probably never will, because the age demographic, there's like 2,000 people that live in this town, and the nearest other town is like 30 miles away. And the age demographic in this area, not to mention this town, is something like, the median age is like 40 or something like that. There's mainly just old people living here, so I'm not going to meet anyone. And because I've been alone for so long, I don't really feel the need to either. Like, if someone just showed up on my doorstep tomorrow and was like, oh, I want to be your lady friend, with that voice specifically, then I probably wouldn't, even if they were like a supermodel, and I could just get past their horrible abomination voice that I just gave them, then I probably still wouldn't want them around, because I'm just so used to being alone that I kind of just prefer it that way. So I don't really feel the impetus to go out looking for someone like most people do. That's one of the problems I've always run into with people that don't understand that. Like, I'll mention that I've been alone or something for X amount of time, and, oh, you could do this, and then I'll explain, I don't like that person. Oh, you're so picky, because they view things from their, like, people are all like this. People view things from their own lens. If someone is a thief and a murderer, then they tend to see everyone around them not as being thieves and murderers, but as being people that want to steal, they want to murder. They have those impulses, but they're just too afraid to act on them or something. They view life through their own lens. So whenever you talk to like an ordinary person that has, they follow their biological instincts whenever they were younger, to pair up, and they managed to succeed with that long enough that they got used to being in a relationship, so that whenever that relationship failed, they went out and looked for another one right away and got in a new one. Women especially have this problem because it's a little bit easier for women to get in relationships than men is a lot of the time. And I'm sure there's like one lady out there. No, that yeah, it is. Believe me, this is not a road you want to go down. You don't want to be a man. Being a man is all about. Well, you probably do want to be a man for different reasons. In terms of relationships, being a man is all about isolation, giving up everything about yourself, and so on and so forth. But anyways, so whenever I try to explain to people, I don't really feel the impetus to go out looking for someone anymore, then that doesn't make any sense to them. So they reject it. It's like, oh, whatever. Like the whole pickiness thing, they don't understand that either. Like, I don't want to be with someone unless actually they wow me in some way. And to them, that's just like, oh, whatever. Oh my God, I can see why you're alone. It doesn't register them. They don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to them because they view things through their own lens. And if they're like a 6 or whatever, then they will very gladly be with a 4 if it means not. I hate to be mean like that, but you know what I mean. If it means not being alone. Whereas me, if I'm a 5 or whatever, and if I meet another 5 or a 6, I'm not going to be interested, so to speak. Again, I hate to be mean, but you got to see what I'm saying. But if I run into someone that I consider a 10 for whatever reason, personality, looks, whatever, then it's like, oh, maybe. Then of course they're like, oh no, ew, you're old, and what's some other horrible qualities that I have? You're you. Yeah, they're like that. Then, they're not going to be interested in, so I'm like, oh, okay. Then I'll just go back to being what I was. But anyways, ignoring all that, and her hair is so poofy. I like drawing poofy hair, but it probably needs to be a little bit further down. But the thing that people don't really realize with wanting that talent that other people have, as I've been trying to say for the past 50 minutes, or whatever it's been, is alongside that is all the sort of mental disorders people have, all the troubles they've ever had, all the suffering that goes into developing those things. Like one of the reasons why people write is because of internal strife. So whenever you want the ability to write, you're asking for all the benefits without any of the reasons why you would be writing in the first place. Like even if, like I'm not going to purport to be the best writer that's ever lived, but I was okay at it, I guess. I was getting a lot better over time, and I really felt like I was actually developing things pretty well whenever I got towards the end. If I were to give you like any writing ability that I have, just give it to you. Like, just pluck it out of my brain like Harry Potter, shove it in one of your holes, then it wouldn't really matter because you probably still wouldn't use it. Because a lot of the problem with a lot of people is they want to do things, but they won't do them. Like there was a image that I linked in my Discord, and I posted it, and I said, "This is all of you. You all are like this." And it's one of those stupid images of Drake, I think it is. I forget who it is in that stupid meme. But where he's raising one hand going like, ew, no, not that. And then there's the next image. He's like, ah, yes, that. But the first image is writing and developing your own ideas into a cohesive story or something like that. And then and of course he's doing the ew, no thing. And then the next one is having a bunch of jumbled, muddied ideas that have no cohesion that you will never ever develop into an actual story. And then he's like, yeah, that's it. That's how most people are. I link that for that reason. Because most people love to have the idea internally of, if I did this, then I would be very good at it. Right? I've talked about this before too. I imagine a lot of you are like that are listening to this right now. If I decided that I wanted to be an excellent artist, then I probably could. If I wanted to bother writing a movie script using this idea I've always had since I was 12 years old or whatever, then it would be amazing if I did it. If I did it. But of course the problem is, one, this is not even the most important part of it. One, you're never going to do it because you enjoy having the idea of doing it too much. And if you actually started doing it on your own, you would quickly realize, oh, the ideas I thought I had developed actually are not developed at all, and I don't even have an idea. I have absolutely nothing, in fact. That's one of the core problems people run into whenever they start trying to do stuff. But more so than even that, the core problem is that you need to have the need to do something. And that's the most important part of it. Even if I were to give you any writing ability that I have, what you wouldn't have is the reasons I had for writing in the first place. And that is more important than any amount of talent. It really is. It doesn't matter how much... Like, someone can be born with the most genetically perfect body that ever existed. They were born to be an athlete. They could be an Olympic level... Like, not everyone is born this way. Like, genetics play a huge factor in things like this. If you were not born, with a 6'3" body or whatever, you're probably not going to be playing in the NBA. There have been some people like, Muggsy Bogues or Spud Webb. I fucking love Spud Webb. You guys have no idea who that is. That, despite their height, managed to succeed in the NBA. But those are exceptions to the rule. If you want to succeed in the NBA, you need to make sure that you are the correct height. And as they say in basketball, you can't teach height. I mentioned basketball because I used to play basketball. So someone can be born with that body. But if they do nothing except for sit on their ass eating Cheetos and watching The View all day, or whatever, I don't know why I brought up The View, I just thought it was funny, then obviously that's not going to do them a lot of good. If I give you the ability to draw, like if I just give you, like this drawing that I'm doing right now, if you could do this, and I'm suddenly like this with my left hand, and I just make that voice all the time because I guess I've gone insane or something. I don't know what the lore is I'm building here. But if that happens, then even if you suddenly have my ability to draw, you're not going to use it. You're going to keep doing the same thing that you've always been doing. Whatever your life's habits are, you will continue to do them. That's one of the main problems with adults, just people in general, is we love to imagine, if I even bothered to do this, it would be amazing. But you're not. Because your lack of talent is not the problem. Your lack of motivation is the problem. It's the fact that you don't want to write, you don't want to draw. That's the reason why you don't have the talent for drawing and writing in the first place. That's why you don't have those things. So people that want, I wish I could play the piano or whatever, it's not only just because you didn't have the mother lording over you, you're gonna learn to play the piano, because I never did. Or, the beauty contestant mothers that push their little 4-year-olds to become beauty queens that look like gussied up whores or whatever. Even if you don't have that, then you still don't have the motivation. Like, the motivation is what leads to talent. Some people are born with that Olympic level body, sure, but they also need the motivation to ensure that they utilize their talents. What's that the fable that Jesus tells in the New Testament where he's talking about the various talents, and he uses talents as a form of currency back in the day. He's not, although it's kind of funny, in English, talent means something similar to the metaphor that he was using. But the story basically goes that various brothers were all given a talent, like money, in other words. But you could view it as talent, like an English talent as well. And, it's been a long time, but one of them buried it because he didn't want to lose it. Another one tried to use it, but he failed completely and lost all of it. Another invested it very safely and didn't even bother touching it so that it would accrue interest. Yeah, they had banks back in the day. And it seemed like one actually made a whole bunch of money using it. And when it came time, the father lined them all up and, what did you do with your talent that I gave you? And of course, they mentioned all the things that they did. And he was angry at the one that buried it because he didn't bother using it. And he was most proud of the one that tried but failed to use his talent. Like, he lost all of his money in the process of trying to use it, but he tried his best to do it, to use what he had. So, one of the central points of a story like that is, of course, it doesn't matter what talent you were born with, English or otherwise, you have to actually try to use it. It doesn't matter if you aren't naturally born with, being 6'4" and able to play ball, because effort can, over time, equal natural born talent if it's enough, and assuming that the people that were born with natural talent don't have the same level of desire that you do. That's what that's one of the problems that Naruto has, is effort beats talent. But then you ask him, okay, but what if the person with talent also has effort? Then you just get crushed, right? So if you're just born shitty, then I guess that's another problem entirely. But more to the point, if you have natural talents, it's not going to help you one way or the other. You need to also, in addition to having natural talent, also have the desire. So for all of you out there, if I did this thing, then it would be great. You're not going to. You are not. I know that for a fact, because if you were going to do that thing, you would be doing it right now, and you would have the talent to do it. That's why people succeed. It's not because they are more talented. It's not because they're different from you. It's because they're doing it. They're trying and they're failing. Like, in many cases, they don't even know what they're doing. Like, look at someone like Uwe Boll or something, the guy that makes the video game movies, or I used to before he got trashed. Like, how do people like that get into the industry? How do people like that succeed? Why are they in positions of power? It's because they were the loudest. They were the ones that wanted it. They're the ones that went out and tried to get it. If you know how the squeaky wheel gets the wheeze, the wheeze. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. You know that saying? That doesn't just mean that loud, obnoxious people will get what they want. It means that if you are seen and you are actively attempting to go through the ranks, like improving, then you will be noticed, and people will enable you as a result. Like let's say that you are, like, I used to work in an assembly line, so let's give that example. That was not fun work. I developed some of my nervous tics working that job. It's lots of fun. Some of the people that were team leaders had no business being team leaders, because they were just bad with people. They were selfish, but they wanted more money. And that's the reason why they were team leaders. It's just because they asked. They asked to. And there's no reason for me to go into the details of how I became a team leader. I think it doesn't matter. It goes against the story that I'm telling here. But there were people that would have made good team leaders that just never became one because they never expressed any interest and no one ever took any notice in them. The same thing works with, like, say, a relationship. Like, that I've talked about motivating you into asking people out and things like that before, because a lot of you are very young and you don't know all this yet. But if you don't ask a girl out, she's not going to ask you out in most cases, right? So if you never try, then yeah, you're never going to fail, but you're also never going to succeed either. You're just going to keep existing. That's one of the main problems that I had whenever I was younger, is I was very timid in trying to do things. A lot of, like, that's not just because of my personality or anything. I was actually very outgoing, supposedly, according to my parents. or my mother specifically, whenever I was very young. But I was also born in a time, like I was born in the farmers during a drought as a third child, as a quote unquote surprise. That was an accident. So, I was not really wanted, and I was the source of a lot of financial problems, apparently. Uh, my dad was usually pretty, like emotionally violent. Every so often he would get physically violent, and he would just kind of lose his shit. And being the little itty bitty one, I was kind of the source for a lot of that problem. So I went through a lot of emotional and sometimes physical abuse whenever I was younger. And as a result, I just grew up being very timid and not wanting to engage things because I was being told all the time, you're stupid, you don't know what you're doing, you're useless, you shouldn't even be here, that sort of thing. So whenever I tried to engage anyone on a personal level, I had that problem. Because I just internally, that's one of the reasons why I'm self-depreciating. One of the reasons why I'm an artist is because I was always told growing up, that I was worthless. And that had that effect on me. And that's one of the reasons why that I draw and write and so forth and so on. Wait, where am I going with this story? I forget what my initial point was. Just that, that as far as interacting with people on a personal level, one of the reasons why I was hesitant to do things at all, like to try at all, was because of this sort of thing I got from my dad, where I was constantly being abused emotionally and being told that I was worthless and not going to amount to anything. So I just sort of naturally developed this personality of I will let other people do things. I will sit in the back, and I'm even still like this. Like if I'm brought into a situation where it's like, everyone gets so-and-so whatever, everyone gets for free. All you have to do is just come up and ask for it. There will be a guy that, I want it all, and he'll go up and, I don't even know what this example is exactly, but he'll, like we're giving out free cupcakes or something. I'm just making up some stupid example. We're giving out free cupcakes. Come get your free cupcakes. I will be the guy that stands in the back. I would like a cupcake, but I'm not going to ask for one. If someone comes up and offers me one, I will take it, but I will be the one that I will allow everyone else to enjoy themselves. Not because I don't deserve to enjoy things or anything like that, but just because I don't want the conflict of having to worry about arguing with people about it. I don't want to be seen as someone that is getting too much. I don't want to be seen as someone that is, causing problems or anything like that. I still have that inside me. I'm still like that. So I'll usually end up with nothing is the end result, because I'm not being a squeaky wheel. And the same thing comes as far as relationships go. Like, one of the reasons why I'm single is because I never went out and was extremely aggressive towards women. Or men, or whatever you want. or xenomonsters, I guess, wolf girls. I was never very aggressive about it. So, the idea of, like, I was not, like, hideous or anything. Yeah, I showed a picture of younger me on Twitter the other day. I'm not gonna go get it, though, but, like, I was not an ugly person, and I guess I was good looking enough that if I wanted to go around asking out girls, then it would have been fairly easy for me to do so. But of course I didn't know that at the time, because, I had come out from a home full of emotional abuse, so I thought that I was extremely ugly, that I was not worth anything, so forth and so on. This typical, like, teenager stuff. Of course, now I'm 30-something years old, so obviously don't really have those same issues anymore. But that was the source of a lot of my problems. So it became a fulfilling prophecy. Like, beautiful people that are given lots of attention tend to become very successful in, like, politics and things like that, because they are beautiful people, and they're given lots of undeserved attention that they never deserved to have from anyone. And as a result, they develop more confidence than other people do, and they might get more opportunities. And because it is a self-fulfilling prophecy in the sense of success begets success, then the more confidence they gain from engaging in people being given opportunities and succeeding in those opportunities, then just the more and more successful they end up becoming, right? This is how it works. So if you're someone like me back in the day and you didn't have any confidence and you wanted to avoid people, and I still want to avoid people, then you just end up self-defeating yourself because you don't have any confidence, you don't have any initial successes. You might develop the reputation of someone that doesn't want to be involved with other people, which I definitely did. You might develop the reputation of someone that does not succeed or is just forgotten in the background. You know, you just exist. And when people want to know, who's that guy? They go, oh, I don't know, he's so-and-so. He never does anything with us. And you just end up being that guy, right? So, if you want things to change, if you want talent, if you want success, if you want relationships with people, you have to fail. And you have to, more importantly, you have to try. If you have that idea you've had in your head since you were 12 years old, whatever, then just start working on it. And if you need people like me to motivate you into doing that, or you read motivational books, and then once you sort of peter out again, and you feel like, oh, I need another one, you're just not going to succeed. You can't sustain yourself like that. You need it to not be me that's telling you to go out asking out girls, or to start working on your writing, or whatever it happens to be. You need it to be you that does that. You need to actually want something. You can't change because someone else told you to change. You need to change because you actually want to. You need to succeed because you're the one that wants to succeed. The reason why I'm able to provide for myself at all is primarily, almost exclusively because of you guys, right? Like, it's because of my Patreon, which I never really bring up, so I probably don't make as much as I probably could. That's one of the reasons why I don't have a huge subscriber count, because I'm not really intent on making myself famous or anything like that. I don't advertise myself or anything like that. Damn it, lost my train of thought again. Because I was thinking, man, her hair's so fluffy. I love her hair. But the reason why I'm primarily have success at all is primarily because of you guys. Because you guys give me money, right? If it's $1 a month, which I like, or if it's $50 a month, which I get really angry about, but still, I will allow you to do that, I guess, even though it perturbs me, then it's still because of you guys. Like, if all of you tomorrow decided to stop donating and no one wanted to donate to me at all, then I just would not have a livelihood anymore, right? It doesn't matter if I re-enabled monetization on YouTube, I would not be able to provide for myself. I would just have to give up what I was doing and go back to working at a retail store or something and get really depressed because there's nothing else in my life and blow my brains out or something. I don't know. I don't know what the hell I would do. I probably wouldn't blow my brains out, but I probably would be very deeply depressed all the time. So, but the main reason why, other than you guys, that I have any success at all is because whenever I got out of college and I started working, like I was doing like photoshopping images and stuff for a website or something, that was my job at the time, then I became determined I am not going to do this. This thing of working 9 to 5, this is not me. Like, I knew that. I knew this is not what I want to do. I didn't have a notion of I'm going to be a personal success. It wasn't like that. I couldn't work a normal job. It was killing me. Because, like I said, I'm not a normal person. I don't have relationships with people. I don't really actualize myself. You know, I was still, like, I wasn't deeply depressed then, but because I kind of worked that out. As you get older, it kind of just works itself out. But I still knew this whole business of raising 2.5 kids or whatever and getting married to someone that you're not really that attracted to, but you need to be married anyways because you just can't bear to be alone. You know, things like that normal people have. I didn't have that. I knew I was not going to be happy at all unless I made myself happy. So that's the reason why I was doing things like writing a book and trying to do a webcomic and then later doing animations, because I was just throwing stuff at the wall, just hoping one of these things has got to stick. Like, there's got to be something, I don't know what it is, that's going to take off. And like that stupid Pikachu smile thing is the first thing I ever tried to do. It's like, well, this isn't going to gain any traction, but I need to practice. I need to make sure that I need to understand that I can actually do this. And then I started thinking, like, I started marketing myself in the sense of, what can I make that I know people, like, if you make something that's just personal, like my Godforge stuff, no one cares about that. No one cares about it because it doesn't exist yet. But if I made something that was Star Wars related, like the Saiyan Girls, that's a perfect example, because I'm talking about the Godforge stuff. No one really cares about the Godforge stuff. And if I make the girls like Chirrut and Moya, like their versions that I have of them in my personal story, there's a lot of people, like, not in the YouTube comments, like 4chan or something would be a good example. They're like, oh, he's doing this shit again instead of doing the real thing that we want. And because they want more Saiyan women. They just want Saiyan women fan art forever. And they want that because they've seen it before. They're fans of Dragon Ball. And that's it. That's as far as their logic goes. And that's the reason why, like, movies get made now that they're just reboots of the same things over and over again. There are no new ideas and so forth and so on. It's because people are attracted to things that they recognize. And if they can't find that, like, they might take a risk on something that they've never seen before, but they would much prefer to have the same thing over and over again. Like, I'm guilty of this too, but a lot of people will go to a restaurant and they'll just get the same thing that they always get on the menu every time. There could be something that's like 2 items down that would be their favorite food that they've ever had in their whole life, and they won't get it because, well, I might hate it. And I'm here, and I don't want to come here for a bad experience potentially. So I'll take the safe, good experience that I remember having. And even if it's a completely new place, then they'll order the thing that probably is not the most risky usually. They'll order the thing that they sort of think, well, I've had something like that before, so I'll probably like this has chicken. And I know I love chicken, so I know I'll probably either really like this or it'll be fine. And once they have that one thing and it is fine, they'll just keep ordering it. That's how people are. They just gravitate to the same thing over and over again. So with like making new content and stuff like that, that's one of the first things I started doing. Is I started doing things like making fan content of Mario, or, you know, the Pikachu in that one case, whatever the hell I did before. I can't remember what my early things were. Captain Planet was one of them, I think. Like, I was just doing anything that had anything to do with anything that would be recognized. And that's one of the reasons why I started doing stuff with the Two Best Friends Play, with Game Grumps and so on. Because I knew this is established, people will recognize it, and this is one way for me to grow my popularity. Like, I was not trying to use them or anything. Like, I still enjoy their content, obviously. But that was my motivation for doing it, because I knew this is how I need to market myself. This is my one chance to maybe gain enough of a following that I might be able to not work a 9 to 5. And it wasn't until Patreon appeared that, like, even before that appeared, it's like, this is not going to work. Like, I am gaining a lot of subs. Like, I think I was, like, at, I don't know, like 65,000 or something when the Patreon stuff started. I can't remember. But I had enough for a normal YouTube channel. But I knew there's no way I can sustain this, because YouTube doesn't support this. Like, YouTube does not reward artists anymore. You can't make money this way. So even then, it's like, this Patreon thing has got to take off. Because if it doesn't, then I'll just have to go back to doing a 9 to 5. There's just no way for me to do this. So, I guess point being with that story is, I succeeded because I wanted to succeed. And it was both luck and because I eventually found a way. Like, I kept exploring things. Like, I didn't like the idea of Patreon at first because I didn't like the idea of making people donate to me. And I didn't think that many people would in the first place, which that was a big surprise when people did. I really didn't expect it. I seriously, because I come from a very poor family, so, and I had a poor upbringing. I didn't get an allowance or anything. I'm just not used to money. It's one of the reasons why I hate it. Uh, so the idea of people actually donating to Patreon to me, that was very bizarre. Because in my mind, like, you know how I said everyone sees things through a lens of themselves? In my mind, since I never wanted to give up money, because money is a problem. So if you have money, you do have more problems, but it protects you from other problems in the future. So, in my head, why would anyone ever donate to me? I figured some people would because, oh, well, I feel bad for the little loser. I'll give him something. But when, like, you people still are donating, so I'm just in the minority. Like, I'm just different, I guess. So I'm thankful for you guys, because I'm certainly not like that. I'm donating now because now I have the money to, and I'm appreciative enough that, like, I need to make sure, like, if you're a patron, you don't really donate huge amounts of money to other Patreon people, because that defeats the whole purpose of doing it. But I do make sure that I have, like, $1 here, $1 here, $1 here, so that people will actually see who I'm supporting, that sort of thing. But anyways, I am sort of like that now. But point being and all that, you are not going to succeed at all unless you want to succeed and you have the motivation to doing it, to actually do it. So if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, I don't have the motivation to do it, I give up. Well, there you go. You're done. Like, you're absolutely done. Or if you're thinking, well, I like Sarah. Oh, Sarah's so pretty. I really like to fuck her face. Or whatever it is that you're thinking, because you're a weirdo. If you're like that, but you also say, oh, I can never ask her out, she'll just say no, then, as I've said before, okay, well, you'll never ever date her. Ever, 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 ever. Because she's not, as in your fantasy that I know that you have, I know 100% that you, theoretical person I'm talking about, I know that you have, she is never going to just walk up one day like, oh, I've always had a longing for your loins, or whatever it is. That's never going to happen. That's not reality. Because she is also human. Like, do you not realize this? All those feelings that you have of, I'm scared of going out of the limb and asking someone this because you're a man and it's expected of you, you have those fears. So do women. Women also have that fear. But women also have the sort of social conditioning to not ever ask anyone. Like, they have because they're the selectors. They're the genetic selectors. Like, any species that's where the woman provides most of the energy in creating offspring and the male doesn't, that's going to be the selector. The female is going to be the selector. And some species where, like, I think seahorses and some species of ducks are like this too. And of course, other species that aren't mammalian and so forth. If it is the male that actually is the one that does most of the child rearing, like the species of duck I'm thinking of, the mother actually selects a male and the male protects the eggs. So he's the one that actually does the selecting. So all the things that birds usually do where they, like, show off their plumage and stuff and do a little dance, it's the female of the species that does that with them specifically. So with humans, that's the same thing. We're still animals. It's the female that does all the selecting, that gets to judge and say, I don't like him, I like this one instead. So females have the biological and social conditioning to freely look at a guy and judge and say, after like 2 seconds, I don't like you, next, and just do that their whole lives. Like, one of the reasons why, like, the age-old question, why do women go for the horrible men? How come they don't like nice guys? And I've said this before, it's because nice guys are boring. Since they're selectors, they go through nice guys all the time. They see a new one every single day. And you are just like everyone else they have ever met. why in the world would she be interested in you unless you're just really good looking, or you have a lot of money, or people do nothing except for lavish praise on you all the time? Like, that's where shit like wingmen come from. It's because if you seem like you're interesting for some reason, then they might be more inclined to investigate you, to see, oh, is there actually something unique about him that wouldn't make him just another one of the billions of nice guys that exist in the world? And if the answer is no, then of course they move on. But if it's something where they are kind of interested, but they can't get a straight answer, then they might keep pursuing it, and so forth and so on. It's just shitty human psychology is what that comes down to. But the girl, she's not going to go up and ask you out for that reason, and because she's a human being. Because she also has that fear of being rejected. You know, it's not something that women have to explore very often because, you know, they are the selectors, but that is definitely there. It's definitely in their minds. And especially if they all, like, women usually all want the same exact guy because he's usually the one that stands out, and they're kind of just wired that way. It's like, oh, the interesting one. So they all end up wanting the same exact guy. So they had this mentality of, oh, I'm not good enough. You know, even though they're being lavished with praise from every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the universe, it's because they're being bombarded with praise from nobodies all the time that they end up becoming self-depreciating. That's one of the reasons why. Well, there's all sorts of psychological reasons for this, and people are all different, so it's not always the same. But anyways, the point being, if you have a fantasy of something falling into your lap, it is not going to happen. Nothing falls into your lap. You have to you have to roll out and position your lap right under the thing, and then invite it to fall into your lap, if anything else. I think I'll start coloring her. Why not? It's a cute picture. Hold on. Where's... Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, well, I'll keep them in two separate layers. I was going to make her do a little thing where... Oh, I sampled it. Here we go. Woof. Woof. Bork. Borf. Borf sounds like the nasty one, don't you think? What's another one? Woof, bork, bork. Hi. There we go. I'll just keep it that way. And I guess I'll keep it this way. This will probably be a low saturation image or something like that. Okay, but I'll start coloring her for the hell of it. This is going to be a long-ass video, but I don't really care. It gets you... Since you guys have been complaining, oh, you're not releasing anything. I love you. I love you. You're like that? You guys are weird. Why do you have that voice? You're so creepy. Then I guess I'll just make this a long video. But yeah, you're not going to succeed unless you go out and do stuff. That's my point. Women... I know most of my audience is going to be men, and I don't really have the authority to speak for women. But I do know that women are much more similar to us, than you think, because, believe it or not, women are humans. And believe it or not, most humans are exactly alike. It's just that we have very minor differences between us that we over-exaggerate because we feel the need to be special, and we feel the need to divide ourselves into various subsections to create an understanding of things because we are not them. But women have the same fears that men do. We do think slightly differently, so I can't speak with too much authority. But I can safely say that if a woman is interested in someone, then she's going to be nervous about asking them out, of all things, usually. I like a woman that doesn't, though. Like, even, like, you know how women suppose, oh, they love a man with confidence. A lot of younger men don't understand what that even means. But it can mean a lot of different things, but it just comes down to personality. I know... You know what? Fuck it. Let's just turn this into a relationship cast. Why not? This began as finding motivation, but let's just turn it into that. Since me as a single man that has never had many relationships and has no interest in having them, this obviously makes me an expert on the matter, don't you think? Yes. So, I say that, but now I forgot what the hell I was even going to start talking about. something about um but as far as what attracts people, yeah, that's what it was, confidence. As far as what attracts people, people say a lot, just be yourself, right? And a lot of young people don't understand that. They don't understand things like you should have confidence. That's what's attractive. They don't understand that either. And it makes sense that it doesn't make any sense to them because there's no real context for it because they're not like that yet. Um, a lot of confidence does not necessarily mean that you're a jackass because confidence, like even if you are incredibly nervous, you can still approach a woman and say, "Actually, I'm pretty nervous about asking you this," and if you deliver that right, like if you have the social skills to deliver what that statement with confidence, even though you are nervous and she can sense that, it will still come across to her as being cute. Like it'll actually be an attractive thing that you actually uh, are nervous in that situation because she can still sense that you are confident in not your ability to succeed in wooing her or anything like that, but you have confidence in yourself. You think of yourself as, I know, like I'm nervous about her saying no, but I know that even if she does, I'll still be fine because I'm still me. You get what I'm saying? You probably don't, but one of those things they'll make more sense as you're getting older. But kind of the flip side of that is you still need to have the right kind of personality. People say, "Oh, just be yourself. There's someone for everyone." That's not true. It really isn't. Uh, it's sort of an empty platitude that people like to lie about. I really love her yellow eyes. I love doing that. I don't know what it is. I love having interesting colored eyes. I always think that's super cool. I really like interesting women. I like it whenever they're just. I like it whenever they're not the kind of girl that just watches MTV or Gilmore Girls and just gossips about shit. I fucking hate women like that. It's always nice whenever, like, you notice I like aggressive women. It's not because they're aggressive necessarily. It's I like their strong personality. I like their confidence. I like that about them. But anyways, people say, be confident, just be yourself and so on. But if you don't have social skills of any kind, if you don't have, like, I'm not gonna name off what you shouldn't be, but you can still be wrong. Like, you can still be unattractive to just about anyone. You can still be a bad person and so forth and so on. Like, especially modern culture, there's this idea that every culture is valid, every idea is valid, everyone is special, everyone deserves to be loved, and so forth and so on, that sort of thing. And there's a fear of being wrong, there's a fear of saying the wrong things, there's a fear especially of people not liking you. It's okay for people to not like you, okay? It's just fine if you meet someone and they have an obnoxious opinion to you, like you find their opinion obnoxious of, like, I don't know, some political thing or whatever your deal is. It's okay for that person to not like you. It's okay for you to be enemies. Don't mistreat them. Like, still respect their opinion, I guess, unless it's just fucking stupid. Like, if you go up to them and they're like, "Oh, black people must die," or some stupid shit like that, then, and I'm sure some of you, because I know I have like a 4chan audience, I'm sure there's like one right now that's like, "Well, fuck him, he's not," what do they call it? Woke. He's not woke, or whatever the fuck people are doing now these days. If you run into someone like that, you know what? Fuck him. Just fuck him. Now, I'm not saying being closed-minded, because what? This is getting into a weird topic. I was talking about relationships. But that's also a problem where people get into echo chambers, where if someone doesn't agree with them, they just unfollow, they cut them out from their life entirely because they just don't want to hear it. That's another, like, if it sounds like, well, Plague, there's a lot of, like, conditions you're giving for everything, that's because life is about gray areas. Like, you can't just label someone and then that's the end of it. Like, even like, girls are still people, right? Well, guess what? Hitler was also a person. He loved his dog. He loved his wife, supposedly. As weird as that was, the relationship was. KKK members still will love their kids. Like, they're not just inhuman monsters. They're still people. They just have monstrous opinions. And that's what turns them into monsters. Like, things are about gray area in life. And that's why I hesitate to give you, like, this is the shit you shouldn't be doing in a relationship. This is how you not attract someone. And that's the reason why people say things as generic as be confident or just be yourself. Actually, I'll tell you as an adult, this is why people say just be yourself. People say just be yourself not because being yourself works. She kind of looks like she's been eating out a snowman. No, I shouldn't say that. It's awful. Here, there you go. There you go, sweetheart. People say be yourself not because it doesn't work to not be yourself. Because there's lots of... You can even find... It's really gross to me, but... There's lots of books that supposed players have written of this is how you get women. You need to make sure that you have some other lady hanging off your arm the whole time. And you also need to make sure that you depreciate her a little bit in a playful way. So, they have all these little dumb tricks and stupid bullshit that men do. Because over time, they had enough success as teenagers that they learned these little tricks to manipulate people into sleeping with them. And to them, that's just life. They were raised that way by themselves because they had minor success otherwise. And now they're just shitty people. And they write books about it because, I get lots of pussy. I get pussy all the time, so I can write a book about it. I'm real famous. Everyone knows how much pussy I get. That means that daddy loves me because I get so much pussy. I get lots of pussy and then I'm a good person. I don't know what their fucking motivations are. They might talk that way, they might not. For tips. Why not? But that works. Like, the reason why that assholes like that exist and that works is because it does work. If you want to try to manipulate some women, I sometimes fantasy, like I've known like one or two women, it's like, oh, I wish I could see one of these dumbasses that get laid using this method. I would really love to see them try this on what's her face that I know or something, because holy shit, would that not work at all, and it would backfire hilariously. I would love to see that, but anyways, it doesn't work on everyone or anything like that, but it does work. Like, if you throw shit against the wall enough times, someone's gonna walk up and look at it and wonder why it's there, right? That's probably a terrible metaphor that I just said, but you get the idea. So whenever the whole idea with being yourself, like, you can be a different person and have it work. But the problem with that is that you end up like people like that. You do have minor, pathetic successes. Sure, you do. That can work. I gotta reverse her borking. I noticed this while I was drawing. There we go. Perfect. Nothing wrong with that. Woof, bork, borf, hi. It's so stupid. But the thing with being yourself is you not only end up being like that, you turn into an asshole, but you're not happy. Like, people like that, they go around sleeping with various women or whatever, but they're just not happy. The reason why they go around sleeping with so many women is because they don't have any happy. They're like they're like me in the sense of they have a hole in their life that they were trying to fill, and they don't know how to do it. And to them, just sleeping with random women is a way of doing that, right? Get her tongue right here. And that goes for ordinary people too, even if you're not going to end up being a player or anything like that. Like, if you're a 2.5 on the Richter scale, then you're not going to be getting mad puss all the time, so no need to worry about that. But even if that's not the case, you can wind up with someone. Like, you can try to pretend to be someone. Like, you can try to pretend to be confident. You can take the dumbass steps that people like that do and convince a a couple of girls to hang off your arms while you go up to talk to her and brag about, how rich you are or something, and then drive up in your fancy car or whatever stupid shit that you can think up that will make you appear to be more interesting than you actually are. Like, this is another thing. Adults are all like this. Adults are all kids that are trying to pretend to be what they think they should be. I've said that before too, I know. And especially if you're a player, that's also true. You're trying to convince not only other people but yourself that you are more important, that you're more deserving of being someone that's vital, someone that's actually that is like a real person than you actually are. Mouth. There we go. So sure, you can end up you can do that. You can go out and convince a lady to be with you under fraudulent circumstances, or even, like, maybe she ends up liking you anyways, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Because the problem then is that you are not happy because you are not yourself. You are with someone, and sure, for a time, that'll be fine, but how long is it going to last if you're having to behave like someone that doesn't actually exist? How long can you pretend to be someone before that falls flat? And the idea that men always... this is the reason why men do this. Is because, if I give it enough time, maybe she'll like me for me, and not for the fact that I don't have a car or anything. Eventually, you're going to have the same problem that all the nice guys of the world have. Like, women don't like nice guys because, as I said, they can be boring. They're just fucking boring. They're nobodies. Because they run into people like that all the time. It's not as though they want assholes, it's just that assholes tend to be very aggressive. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, remember? And they tend to seem actually interesting. Like, they're more interesting. They have something that will make the girl actually feel something. Like, they'll... And not like... It's just something that's actually interesting. Like, if I ran into a girl tomorrow, it's just like, I don't do much. I'm even like this. My favorite hobbies are watching TV. I like movies. And I'll just be listening to this. Like, if I run into any human being in the world and ask them what their hobbies are, these are the answers that they will give me. Why am I wasting my time talking to this human being? It doesn't even matter if they're like a 10 out of 10. Like, they're the most attractive fucking ultra hyper model that's ever existed. I will still be hearing this and go to myself, oh my god, this person is so fucking boring. Like, it's good for them that they pose for pictures and whatever, swimsuit, Playboy Illustrated or whatever. But holy shit, are they boring. And that's the only thing that's my perception of them. They're barely a human being. They're just a thing that just exists. They just are. And that's all they are. Like, why do people like that, why are they real? So, if I'm like that, and I'm a guy, imagine how the girl is. If she runs into you and like, oh, what do you do? I play video games, and I like to watch movies. I like to go running sometimes. Because you think that's interesting. You don't actually run. I know you don't. So, what do you think their opinion of you is going to be? It's not going to be a good one. I'll tell you that right now. So, that's why things are like that. It's not necessarily because they like assholes. It's just something. It's fucking something. Like, if you... Yeah. For women especially, getting involved in a relationship for a woman is especially dangerous in many ways. Like, it's something they have to be very careful about. They're not just being picky just to be assholes, right? They're also being picky because, hey, I might get fucking raped today. Like, what did Louis C.K. say? Like, for a woman, it takes an intense amount of bravery because it's like you're going on a date with a bear. Like, I hope, what did he say? I hope, the thing I know is going to happen doesn't happen. Or it's like, where are we going today? And the guy says, well, statistically, to your death. Like, for a woman, it poses there's a great number of problems that a woman can have that a guy's not going to necessarily have when it comes to getting involved with random people that they're meeting for the first time. And the whole thing with, you usually, this goes for men and women, you usually know whether or not you're going to be interested in someone at all within the first few seconds of meeting them. Which is kind of shitty, but that's just how people are. Like, I can't help that either. That's also probably one of the reasons why I haven't ended up with anyone at all, is because whenever I go out, it's usually in like a shitty, loose V-neck t-shirt because I just don't care. Because, oh, this fucking t-shirt feels so good. This t-shirt feels so good. I don't want to change out of it. I could wear something that's tighter and that would be more appealing to look at, but I don't care. I just want to feel good whenever I go out. I don't want to have to worry about feeling like a pile of shit. Just looking like a pile of shit. And I'm okay with looking like a pile of shit because I'm 30-something years old and I just don't give a damn. I'm kind of like that. That's probably another reason why. I know it doesn't feel good to worry about, oh, I've got to dress up because random people that I meet might not be satisfied with my appearance. I'm a very irreverent person myself. So definitely with me, fuck other people. I don't care what they think. Like, I'm like that. I don't care what you think about me. Like, oh, your outfit's nasty or whatever. Oh, you don't like my outfit? I'm gonna wear it twice just for you tomorrow, bitch. Fuck you. You like this white t-shirt? You love it. Like, I'm like that. I don't care. And if you actually are displeased with my appearance or whatever, like if I'm walking around half naked or something, that's one thing. Because I'll be like, yeah, this probably was too much. But if you're just being a little dickwad about my appearance, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. So when it comes to trying to attract women, you can see how that might run awry. Like, that might run afoul. Whenever I don't care about my actual appearance. I always was sort of like that. So I was about to say, well, I wasn't always like that. Yeah, I kind of always was. But back then, I was sort of just young and sort of naturally okay looking. So it didn't really matter. So it didn't really backfire too often as much as it could have. Plus, it seems like I've heard this before. I don't remember where I saw it. It might have been like a UNC study or something. That statistically, the most attractive thing that a guy can wear, as far as like surveys and everything go, is usually just blue jeans and a sort of tight-fitting t-shirt. And that's it. You think it'd be some fancy thing? No, just this t-shirt. Just t-shirt and jeans. That's it. Which I sort of understand because bork them out, baby. You can even hear them. They're barking away. But I'm distracted by their barking. She is too. I can't even remember what I was going to say now because of their borks. What was I saying? Guys, tell me in the chat what exactly was it I was going to say. Something about my clothing. I can understand it because I think the whole idea with that, or the reason why it might work naturally, is because blue jeans and t-shirt kind of show off the human body in the sense of a t-shirt is going to not be revealing, but it's going to show off whether you are out of shape. It's going to reveal pretty easily whether or not you have been exercising, things like that. I hate it whenever they get this way. Can you actually hear them? Why am I even asking? You can't respond. But they just absolutely lose their minds sometimes. Start. They're not even yelling anything. They're just being dogs. One of the things I don't like about it. Why am I wasting my time doing this this flannel? As much as I enjoy having her be in flannel, drawing flannel is a pain in the ass. It really is. Because not only you have to do this, you kind of have to do another layer where it's sort of combined with it, and the lines have to be a little bit thicker. And I've got to fade this out because I made the mistake of fading out the other one. You don't have to do too much of this part, though, thankfully. But this is my little trick to doing it, I guess. And you have to make sure that since it's a t-shirt, it has to look the same on both sides. So you got to worry about that, too. But anyways, that's the secret of all relationships. Just don't give a shit about your appearance now. But that's the reason why people, to go back to my original point, that's the reason why people say to be confident and to just be yourself. It's mainly to protect you. Will being someone else work? Yes, it will definitely work if you know how to make it work. Is that a good idea? No. It is a tremendously bad idea. Because that's not you. And as a result, you will not be happy with the outcome. That's the main problem with it. Let's see. Which can be very irritating, because if you know, well, I'm just inherently not that attractive of a person in the first place. I'm not interesting, I don't have any interesting talents, I'm, like, my speech is not provocative, like plague, like, he must get all the mad wolf pussy. No, I shouldn't say that, that's awful. Like, if you know that, you know that. But this is the kind of the sad realization about people, about life in general, is then you just need to improve yourself. If you find that you are not interesting, just educate yourself, gain more interest, be a better person. That's the trick. And if you inherently are just like, you've got like 2 twins growing out of your back because you were born in a weird way, and you have a voice like this, and you talk this way all the time, and you just sound like you're like a fucking science experiment gone bad, then you're just not gonna breed. Unless you find someone else that's equally desperate and does not care. That's just a sad reality of evolution, of our species and just in general. Is, if you just aren't cut out for it, then you just aren't cut out for it. But, like, I'm not naturally the most amazing looking person that's ever existed myself. I'm not a 10 out of 10, certainly not anymore. But that's one of the reasons why I tried to cultivate my personality. And you see where that got me. I'll just let that one hang there. You see where that got me. Is this? No, that's this flannel line. Flannel line 1. Flannel panel. I have to keep this multiply or else it's not going to merge correctly. And then there's one last one where it's kind of the light sort of line work that you see on flannel sometimes. It's usually on the edge. This will be a smaller line. Then we'll be done with flannel for a while. Hopefully forever. But you're never quite done with flannel, are you? Nope, never are. But yeah, that's the secret to all relationships. Not much more to say about it than that. It kind of got off topic of motivation, didn't I? Like, my whole point originally was just actualizing yourself, I guess, is the whole theme of this video. And I don't want to do a time lapse because this is already a million-year-long video as it is, which I'm going to be fine with since, it's been a while. And hopefully you guys will enjoy it one way or the other. I guess I'll just go over some minor business shit with you. I have made a deal with a t-shirt place. I guess I shouldn't mention who it is since we don't have anything yet. As far as it being on the shelves. There's no reason to worry about that just yet. But I do have 2 t-shirt designs lined up. You've already seen the beginnings of one of them because I made a video about it that I actually remember making for once. So that's there. I got that to work. Sometimes with certain t-shirt places that make them, you don't have to worry about the amount of colors that you're using. This place, however, does. They have a maximum of 8 colors. Usually it's 7. Because, it is print, so you have to worry about such things. So as a result, the Saiyan lady t-shirt that I was making a video out of, that's not right. I'll put it right here. That I was making a video out of, I had to reduce the total number of colors in it, so it doesn't look as amazing as... Well, you guys never even saw the finished image, so it doesn't really matter one way or the other, does it? But I did finish the image. The finished image, I've been thinking about just making into a poster, if anyone cares to buy that eventually. But the finished image is 8 colors, and I had to get very creative about... Actually, I can show it in this fucking video. What am I doing? I was sitting here thinking, well, there's no way to show them. It's like, wait a second. I'm on the internet, and I'm stupid, and single. So I can... Hold on for a second. Where's my drawings? I'll just show you real fast. The finished Saiyan Girl shirts. This is they'll be on black, since apparently black is super popular. This is the finished version of the Saiyan Girls one. And this is the other one. The other t-shirt, which I'm sure that lots of you will enjoy. So, unless anything changes, they will look like that as the end result. They will be on black shirts, since apparently everyone buys pretty much exclusively black shirts for some bizarre reason. Don't know why, but that's what it is. Wow, this is an hour and a half commentary. This is going to be rough if I keep it at 60 frames a second. Why am I recording at 60 frames a second? It's a drawing. It doesn't matter. Alright, anyways. One last little pass for... I guess I'll do a pass on... I'll do a quick pass on shading. I don't need much of it, though. So this is actually... I've never done this before, I don't think, where I just do a whole picture and it's completely live commentary the whole way through. I'm pretty sure I've never done that. And it sucks. No, it's fine. But this is probably the portion where I kind of lose focus, and I really want to listen to music right now. That's my main thing. But I can get this done real fast. I just have to think of something to talk about. Since you see how easy it is for me to ramble if you get me started? Like, I'm actually not quiet in real life, but I just don't have much to say, usually. But if you do ask me, what is your opinion about X, Eli? And you actually seem sincerely, like you actually want to know my opinion on the thing, then I will give it to you for the next 5 hours. I'll give it to you the next 5 hours. Yeah, that's too easy. But I'll give it my opinion to you for the next 5 hours. Like, I'm sort of like that. I don't tend to ramble, but, this is a video and I have to talk a lot. And I've talked about that before. And again, that goes back to my personality of coming from a weird upbringing of no confidence, etc. Having no confidence is a sure killer. I'll talk about that. Because having no confidence, it's just not... It has everything to do with relationships, of course, too, but holy shit, does that ruin you on so many things. Like, the main problem with having no confidence isn't necessarily the feeling of, I can't do this. It's the result of, like, it makes you not want to do anything. It's sort of like depression. Like, the no confidence and depression are definitely linked. Like, one can cause the other, and so forth and so on. But the worst thing about it is, like, I didn't want to get my license to drive because I had no interest in going anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to get a job. I didn't want to get a degree. I had no interest in doing anything. But since I was becoming an adult, I was expected to do those things. You have to go out and get a job. You have to go get a higher education, especially these days. It's, actually, in a way, is kind of a benefit. Like, I'm still paying off student loans even now. Because if I did it all at once, that would be a nightmare. Gosh, my last... Like, this past annual... Patreon didn't report my earnings correctly or something. So I ended up having to pay like $7,000 or something out of pocket to catch up to the IRS. It was rough. I hate worrying about money. And so having to deal with something like that is the last thing that I want to do. But anyways, should be talking about money probably. It's just something I didn't want to deal with. I didn't want to deal with anything. That was the main problem with low confidence. Is not necessarily not thinking that I can't do things. Is just I wanted to avoid doing anything. If that makes any sense. So I imagine a lot of you guys kind of go through the same thing. If you're still watching the video at this point, you probably have had similar issues to what I had at the time. So that's kind of just, as far as how do you cure something like that, I guess that's the more important thing. Because if you have anxiety or anything like that, you know what it is. I don't need to tell you, because you feel it every day, I'm sure. So there's no point in that. How I got over it, and how everyone gets over it, I think, success. That's pretty much it. You just have to have minor successes. That's what it all comes down to. You need to... Like, this is going to sound strange, but one of the ways that I managed to get over it was, like, it started with small things, like cooking. Like, I started learning to make, what was it? I can't even make them anymore. I started learning how to make, I think it was coconut cream pie, that's what it was, and lemon meringue pie. I started learning to do that. And you think, well, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Who cares? And yeah, but whenever you have no confidence at all, then just little bitty things, like being able to think of yourself as something other than a screw-up is a big thing. Like, if you can actually go up to someone and, you're having a party or something, assuming you're going to a party anyways, and you have to bring something, you can not just bring chips in a 2-liter. You can actually bring a whole fucking pie or a giant suckling pig or some big ass shit like that. And people will see that you did that and be like, holy shit, you can do that? And you can actually say, yes, I can do that. And that is a minor source of confidence. The way that you treat having no confidence is to just have minor successes. But the thing is, you can't allow people to have those successes for you. You have to do it yourself. And that's the problem. Because if you don't feel the motivation to do anything because of your depression or whatever, then, how do you get out of that rut initially? And the answer to that is you just have to do it. It's just like the bravest people are not people that don't fear, they're the people that overcome their own fears, right? So if you want to actually, be something, then you're going to have to just do it. Like, if it's something small, that's the reason why you start small. Like, I'm not telling you to go out on, the middle of a stage and start singing out fucking Carmen or something, the opera Carmen. Like, you don't have to get crazy or anything. Just, if it's just baking a cake, just bake a cake. If it doesn't work, then just try it again. Don't let it be a thing where, oh, I can't even do this right, it came out burnt, I give up. I'm such a screw-up, this is just more proof of how bad of a person I am. It's not, just do it again, like everyone makes mistakes. That's one of my problems, is, my dad was the kind of person that, he would never make mistakes. If something went wrong, it was never his fault. It was your fault. Like, he's one of those people. So, to me, if anything ever went bad, then obviously it was my fault. Obviously, I did something wrong. So, I was always the one to blame for everything. Of course, if I ever did anything wrong at all, then I would blame myself. My dad would tell me, do this. Like I don't know, like if we were like hooking up a tractor or something like that. This is just a generic example from my life. Like hook up the PTO and hook up the hydraulics to the back of the to the disc. We're going out to the field or whatever. And of course, I would have no idea how to do that because I've never been shown it. Because he's the one that's always done that. And I would say, I don't know how to go, and that would just trigger him. Like, he gets so fucking angry that I didn't know how to do this simple thing, and he had to do it now. Even though he was the problem. Like, he was the source of the problem. Because he had never educated me in anything, and any time that he'd be like, oh, do this thing, and I wouldn't know how to do it, instead of calmly, like a father would, like showing, oh, this is how you do this, son. And then I would learn and be like, and I would say, now I have the experience to be able to do this in the future, and I have more confidence in myself. Like a human would. Now, he would just freak out and lose his mind because he himself was a weak person, and that would just damage me further. Like, that was the source of most of my problems as a kid and as a young adult. And one of the reasons why, I was afraid of trying new things, and why I fear failure, things like that. But you can't. Like, you can't afford to do that to yourself. So if you want to improve as a person, it doesn't even, like, if it doesn't have to be confidence. If you just want to improve as a person, you have to do it yourself. You can't fantasize. You can't afford to live in a fantasy world of, if I tried to make a movie, it would be great. If I bothered to ask her out, then she would say yes, because I would know exactly how to. I just can't be bothered to. I can't be bothered to do this thing that I know I would be great at. Because I'm not saying that you would fail, but you are protecting yourself. You're enjoying the delusion of being the person you want to be, rather than being the person that you want to be. There is a distinct difference. And most people, as I said, are like that. They enjoy living in the fantasy more than they enjoy the prospect of not succeeding. There's lots of things that I want to do that I will never be able to do. Not because I'm not capable, but like the writing thing. I will say, I can't do the Godforge thing this week, or I can't finish that novel that I'm definitely never going to finish the novel because I don't want to. I don't want to finish the novel because it's not really what I would want to publish these days. This is a completely different thing, but like the Godforge thing is just this example. Like, I'm not going to do the Godforge thing this week because I just don't have the time. And that is sort of true. Like, you need time for yourself and stuff. But mainly, like, if I actually wanted to have the time, like, if I really felt compelled to, I would have the time to do it. Like, I technically would. But I don't want to because I would go insane. Because I would feel like I'm just working nonstop and doing absolutely nothing else, and I just don't have a life. Like, I need the downtime to just fucking around playing video games or something. Like, I need that because I don't have anything else. Like I said, I don't have loved ones. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife to enable me my bad habits, like a lot of people do. So, while technically, yeah, I could do that, it really mentally, like, I guess it probably wouldn't be the best thing to do anyways, but technically I could do it. But technically also I don't have the time. There are many things that we convince ourselves, technically I can't do this. Like the Godforge thing. I could technically be doing it. It's a rough spot with me as far as that goes. And I'm sure it's a rough spot with you as far as your own stuff goes. Like, you want to improve with your writing or whatever it is, but you're working a 9-to-5 job and you come home and you're just tired, right? And I'm not blaming you and saying, oh, you're a shitty person because you're not doing that right after work. Because technically, yeah, you do have the time to do it, but do you have the mental energy to do it? No. Do you, would it be healthy for you to even do that? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I definitely understand that it's something that if you started trying to do it, then it might end up destroying you mentally. I get those things. So it's not as though I'm blaming you and saying you're a bad person for not attempting to do stuff, right? But I am saying that if you don't do those things, if you don't start doing the writing instead of thinking about the writing, you won't write. Like, that's just how it is. And it sucks. It's fucking awful. And in an alternate reality where the Patreon thing didn't work, I would not be doing this right now. I would not be making videos on YouTube. I would have given up. I would probably be working at some generic job, feeling incredibly depressed because I don't have anything. I'm not doing what I want to do. I don't feel I don't feel a connection to other people around me because I'm not like other people. Just things like that. And I live in a nowhere place where there's, even if there were people like me, they would be 1 in 200 because there's just no one here. Just all sorts of things like that. So very easily, it's easy for me to say something because I'm kind of succeeding in what I want to do right now because I did try. But you can try and fail. But there's nothing wrong with that. And that's something you also need to get through to yourself. Because I know how depressed people think, because I was one. And I know how difficult it is to succeed, because I'm still doing that, and I'm still worrying about it all the time. So, I should add a light. Yeah, I like adding highlights to hair. This is the reason I'm drawing Winnie, because I really like drawing Winnie. It's really relaxing drawing Winnie. So I can even talk about depressing shit while I draw her. Because I really like drawing her. Because she's just got... There's all these sort of roughness about her. Like, not only her character, but like the line work that I employ whenever I draw her. It doesn't have to be solid. Like, you don't have to make precise line work with her. That's another reason why I like drawing sort of like animal characters. For other reasons too. Oh, memes. But it's also because you don't really have to focus too much on like very sincerely drawn perfect line work, where you just make sure everything is just so. You have to do that with skin. Like, skin is a pain in the ass. I hate especially shading skin. Let's do that right now. Let's do that right now. Like, her little, like, this whole area, her, like, this is not skin, it's like her fur, right? So I don't have to worry about it looking natural. That's the nice thing about drawing. That's what's relaxing about it to me, I guess. If you're wondering about that, which you weren't. You were trying to listen to me ramble about whatever it is that I was rambling about. What the hell was I talking about? Something about confidence or some shit? Well, I guess just... I understand why, you might not be able to do the things that you do. That you want to do. But you also have to understand that you can't keep enabling yourself and telling yourself, like, oh, play your grism with me. I don't have the time to do this thing. Or, I shouldn't ask what's your face out, or whatever your personal goal is that you're using to explore your own life. Like, oh, I do have a reason to not do this. No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I understand that it's hard. That's all I'm saying. I understand that even if you try your best, you might fail. Because, like I was talking about the guy that was born with, like, 2 twins on his back. And he's a 2 point whatever, or 1 point whatever. He's just butt ugly. And he has a weird personality because he wasn't raised right, or whatever. Even in that case, like, he's got a lot working against him. He can still succeed. But he can also try and fail. And it will be perfectly understandable that he would try and fail. Like, if you ask that a supermodel, it's pretty much guaranteed the supermodel is going to say no, right? Unless he is just the most interesting, captivating, amazing. Like, everything he says is, like, inspirational and uplifting, and he fucking quotes Shakespeare out his ass, and he's an astronaut somehow, and it's crazy. And also, he's like a fucking bear whisperer, and they follow him around all the time because they're just so fucking impressed with him, even though they're bears and he's not. It's amazing. Like, he would have to have a lot working for him for that supermodel to be like, yeah, I'll fuck this. I'll get up in that. It would take a lot. He would have to be very impressive. But he could do it. He could. He has a lot working against him. He could, but he probably won't, right? He probably won't. And when he fails, when he does fail, which is not an inevitability, but is very likely, then there's no reason to be surprised. I understand that. Like, that's what I'm getting at here. I'm not enabling his failure, but I'm saying that if he does fail, I perfectly understand. But probably the most important thing to realize in all of this, and this is something people forget all the time, is life doesn't really have... This is not supposed to be depressing, this is supposed to be uplifting. But life doesn't really have a meaning beyond what we give to it. Like, you get... What am I now? 30-something? 30... When was I born? What year is this? I think I'm going to be 35 this year. I've already wasted a lot of my years. And I will waste even more of them. Like, I probably would be much happier if I found someone to be with, but that'll probably never happen because I just don't want to go through the trouble of it. But I'll probably look back like a decade from now and regret doing that. I probably will. Probably. Maybe not. I really don't know yet. There's a lot of things, like we have one life. We have one life to live. We have probably like 70, 80 years. We have, like, we're kids, and then we become teenagers, and we have our youthful teenage bodies for a very small amount of time. And then immediately after we get our mid-20s, or even before then, our bodies are just fucking ruined, and they're just garbage. And they're completely useless. They just turned to shit. Like, I'm not too out of shape or anything like that. I actually look alright for someone of my age, I guess. But I can look, especially for someone that sits on a computer all day, because that's what their life is. But I'm never going to get that 18-year-old look back. Like, I'm never going to be that guy again. That's just wasted. That's gone now. I can never have that back. But everything, like this 9 to 5 that you're working, you might think, I have to do this. Like, this is just part of life. I have to do this. You don't have to do anything. Like, you get 80 years on this planet. If you want to spend it rampaging through the countryside, like raping sheep or something, or some fucked up thing, I'm not telling you to go for it, but if you want to go for it, that's your life, man. You will be arrested and charged with many different things. But it's your life to live. If what's-her-face might be interested in you but might not, and you're afraid of asking her out, if you don't ask her out, then nothing's going to happen. And as a result, whereas you might have spent the next 60 years living with your perfect soulmate, or whatever the shit it is, whatever you convince yourself of, that's awful to me say. Whereas that could have happened, now you're just not going to live that life. Like, you've completely given up on the possibility of that life. So, you know, with your the possibility of writing the book you've always wanted to write or whatever, do you actually have the time? Maybe not. Maybe you don't. But if you don't write that book, no one else is going to. If you don't explore that idea, no one else is going to. If you don't be the person that you want to be, no one else is going to. And even if someone else did write that book, and it's very similar or whatever, it's still not yours. You didn't have that experience. Life is all about the possibility of having experiences with one another. And whenever you don't take the chance to live those possibilities, then you're just wasting time. You're going to die eventually, one way or the other, and that'll be it. You know, you had all this time and you just did nothing with it. You had all these talents, like Jesus metaphor again. You had all your talents and you just buried them. Was it hard? Yeah, it was hard for you to do things, but you had the chance to do them, but you didn't take the chance because you wanted to play it safe, or you just found it to be too hard. It's better for you in your own life to know that you wanted something and you tried to get it. You wanted it, so you went out and you tried to get it, and you failed. But that's life. This is part of it. You might not get all the things that you want. You won't. I know that you won't. But you tried. That's the important thing. Not just, that's not an empty platitude either. It's like, oh, well, you tried. No, I mean, you tried. Like, you were you. Like, you actualized everything that it is that you want to be. You put that forth. You did everything in your power. And maybe you didn't succeed or whatever. But that was you. Like, you were, for those instances of trying, whatever it was, whether you were asking out Sarah, whatever the fuck her dumbass name is, or asking out Billy, or whatever his dumbass name was, or trying to write a book, or, you know, trying to run a fucking decathlon, or whatever it is. In those moments, you were vital. Like, you were you. you were a person that deserves to be remembered by just being alive. Like, that's what life is. Like the universe doesn't have any meaning to it beyond what we give to it, right? So, whenever you do that, and you know I tried and failed, you're adding to the overall meaning of the universe. And while you are small and insignificant, that meaning is all the universe has. So in those moments, you were all you are all that matters in the universe whenever you try and fail. Like, it's that important. If you want to be someone, you be that someone. It doesn't matter if you are that person yet or not. It doesn't matter if you try to be that person and then you fail. You're still trying to be that person. And that's what matters. And even in the process of, you might realize, oh, I actually didn't want to be that person all along. That's also fine. That is also fine. Just, if you want something, then get it. Like, that's all I have to tell you about that. If you want to start a Patreon and maybe hopefully take off and not work a 9 to 5 to avoid killing yourself eventually out of complete emptiness in your life, then try it. Because what are you going to lose? Like, if you try to ask someone out and they say no, so what? Like, what's going to happen? Well, they're gonna laugh at you in high school. Oh, he asked someone out and she said no. Ha. Let's mistreat him. We're cool. You think that shit matters? Especially, like, to me, like, in high school, I was not the unpopular kid or anything. It was a small school, so I guess I was a popular kid, I guess. As much as you can be in a tiny little school like that. But, like, you think anyone that is my age still worries about things that they did in high school? Still worries about anything that they did in, college? Unless it's like, oh, I killed a guy in college. They must not worry about that then. But otherwise, do you think anyone cares? Do you think the opinions of some dumbass child in high school matters to anyone now? Like, all the people that, like, there were some people that were sort of like that, in the sense of overline. In the sense of they thought they were cool, and these other people were losers. There were one or two people that were like that. One of them, actually both of them, they were both girls. Of course they were girls. They came out of, they were pretty girls that came out of public school, so of course they were like that. They were just dumb bitches. One of them got knocked up by some guy because he rides a motorcycle, and she thought that was super cool. And he ended up being, like, incredibly abusive, and he beat her all the time. And eventually they had to get a divorce, even though she had, like, 3 of his kids or something. And to her credit, now she's a much better person. The other one, I think she got knocked up too right away. She didn't really do anything with herself, and she ended up working at a gas station or something. And I think she's still there, and she looks terrible. So, people like that, they either become trash or they change as people themselves. The things that people, like, all the people that are going to berate you over things, you did something, you failed, they exist, but who cares? They're losers. They're fucking losers. They don't matter. They're either going to grow up to be more losers, or they're going to grow up and change and be better people and despise the person that they used to be, or they are, I don't know, like, what other outcome for people like that is there? I don't know, they're not people worth worrying about. Don't worry about them. Like, they're not you. Who cares what they think? Even if you have, like, cackling little schoolgirls, yes, that's someone, but he's a loser. You're not gonna know them in a few years. Who cares? Oh, but I might. She lives with so-and-so. Fucking cares. Get over it. Like, don't associate with them. Fuck them. That's part of being confident. You know what part of being confident? It's like that. Not saying fuck it to people, but just knowing their opinion does not matter. What matters is my opinion of myself. That's part of it. If you're wondering, how do I develop that part of myself? Like, how do I do it? It depends on you. Like I said, minor successes is part of it. Learning to be more comfortable with yourself is part of it. Maybe drawing wolf girls is part of it. It just depends. It depends largely on your individual factor. It depends on who you want to be. but who you want to be is probably the most important part of it. If you can be comfortable with the person that you've chosen to be, then that's what's important. Don't worry about what other people have to say about it. Their opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what my opinion is of it. Like, there's lots of people that I cannot stand. I cannot stand them. Like, who are some people that I... Who's some people that I hate? Like, the people I hate most in life are probably dick wavers. Is what I usually refer to them mentally as. People that think they're hot stuff. You need to listen to what I have to say. I have authority over you. Like, I'm a very irreverent person, as I've said. I don't think highly of authority. I reject authority. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like when people think they're better than me. I don't like it whenever people try to tell me what I'm doing is wrong, that I need to be doing something else. Or especially, if you don't do this, what I want, then you... whatever it is. I hate people like that. I fucking hate them. And at every opportunity that I have, I will probably sabotage them. I will attempt to wreck their life because I hate them so much. I do not like people like that. Little busybodies that think that the world needs to revolve around them, that their opinion matters more than everyone else. Politicians are especially like this, where they think, well, I know best. It's just that there's so many stupid people in the world. They're so stupid because they don't believe what I believe. So I'll fix the world for them because they're so stupid. And I'll just have to do whatever it is that it takes. I'll gain any amount of power necessary to make sure that my will matters above all else because I know it's best. They're just stupid. I hate people like that. I really despise people like that. So, I don't really talk about politics that often, and whenever I do, it's more kind of just whatever. Like, I don't want to involve everyone in this, but I really don't like the sort of cliche social justice warriors these days. Not necessarily because of any politics, but just because they're so fucking obnoxious. With their intense, I'm right, you're wrong. Anyone that doesn't agree with me is wrong. I fucking hate that about them. The individual politics behind it, that's an entirely different thing that I'm not even bothered getting into because it's not really that important to me. Because it's just not, like, I'm not involved with it. I don't know anyone involved with it, so it doesn't really matter that much to me. You get the idea. But I do not like people like that. I really don't. But, even though I don't like them, I might even intentionally ruin their lives. Well, I won't ruin their lives. I don't even know how to do that. But I might intentionally, shit on them or make fun of them or something. It still doesn't matter. Like, even if I don't like them, it doesn't matter as far as they are concerned. As far as they are concerned, my opinion does not matter when it comes to their life. Now, you might butt heads with people as a result of being your own person. There's some... You guys remember the cartoon Recess? I actually hated that cartoon. I was nearing my 20s or something whenever it first started airing. Or no, I might have been 17 or something. I don't know. But it was definitely out of my age range. But I remember flipping through and I saw an episode of it that I briefly kind of lingered on. And I think it was the main character complaining because there was a kid in his class that did not like him. And he could not figure out why this kid did not like him. And the whole episode was him doing different things, trying to get him to like him, trying to be around him, oh yeah, me, right, me? And the kid was just not having it. And eventually at the end of the episode, the kid just comes out with this why do you not like me? What did I ever do to you that make you not like me? Let's save this real fast. I'm not done. I'm gonna add a background. What did I ever do to make you not like me? And the kid was just nothing. I just don't like you. And he didn't understand that. It's what do you mean you do? What did I do something? Am I wrong about something? All right, come on. So he has to access the external drive to be able to save. So it does that. And he said, no, you've done nothing to me. I just don't really like you. And that was it. That's the only reason why he was like that. Do that to overline. There we go. And sometimes things are just like that. It's one of the things that modern culture forgets a lot of the time. Like I was saying earlier, it's okay to not like people. It's okay to not only disagree, but just not like other people, and for them to not like you. It's fine. And a lot of people modern times forget that. Like if you say something and another person's like, "Oh, you're a bad person for doing that," or whatever. Okay, like that's fine. Like if they want to be mad about that, let them be mad about it. If you're being you, be you. Like don't worry too much about it. It's okay for other people to not like you, and sometimes people will not like you not because of anything you've done. Like you didn't do anything to them. You just don't get along, and that's fine. And I guess the same goes for just like if you're worrying about being a better person, you're worrying about someone liking you or not liking you or whatever. Sometimes there are people that you're just not going to get along with, and it's not because they are wrong, and it's not because you're wrong, and it's not even because both of you are right. You know, that kind of modern nonsense where no one can be wrong and every culture is valid and so forth and so on. It's not even because of that. It's just because you're just different people, and that's it. That's all it comes down to, and that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And with me, like, there's lots of things that I'm never going to accomplish. There's lots of things I'm going to fail at. I would like to be a better person in some respects. My growth as a human being is never going to stop, of course, nor should it. That's one minor complaint. Sometimes people get married and they kind of stop developing as people, and they kind of just become shitty because they're still a teenager, like mentally. Because one of the downsides to having really that's one of the reasons why internally, I'm not saying I'm better than you or anything, but that's one of the reasons why internally I think that I kind of have developed this way that I have, that I talk this way all the time, and I'm so internalized and I'm so focused on improvement and things like that, is just because I've never been in relationships, really. Like, they've always been shitty whenever I have, of course. Because I think whenever you get involved in relationships, a lot of the times, the other person is so focused on it working that they become enablers and they don't tell you all the things that you're doing wrong or the ways that you can improve as a person. And that's not really their job either. Like, if you're in a relationship, don't start shitting on the other person. They need your support, not your criticism necessarily. And it's very difficult to find ways of trying to explain things that they could do to improve themselves without actually stomping on them. Because it's your job as their partner. You don't want to shit on them. Like, you need to be supportive. It's very important for them to have that in their life. So people that have that already, they're married or they've always been in relationships that enable them, and that's the only thing that they have going for them, you can see why they might mentally not develop very much, and they might not improve themselves as people, because they've never had to. It's just something that never happened with them. So I kind of imagine one of the benefits of being alone for so long is that you spend so much time trying to improve yourself because of this perception that you're doing something wrong, that you end up actually being a better person as a result. So that is one sort of weird advantage of it, I guess. Let's do that. I think I had one more little color over this. Let's try... I like combining colors. It's fun. I'm going to add an overlay on this, though. Sort of a filter layer. I always like doing that, too, to try to unify this. But I always really like doing like this number and just having a lot of variation. Sort of my marketing color that I developed over time has been purple. I don't use it in absolutely everything. But you notice that whenever I work, I tend to have this thing where I don't really use many greens. I don't use many yellows either. I sort of stay in this range of orange to sort of here, sort of the darker purples. I don't really use blue too much either. That's sort of just my range as an artist. I really like working in that range because I think it looks pretty. It looks pretty. So pretty. Okay, but you guys get the idea. Not much more to go over. I just wanted to make sure that this video was not really uplifting, but I wanted to make it clear what I've been kind of thinking about lately. And as I said earlier, is that a train? It's probably a crashing plane or something, who cares? But as I said earlier, if you're not learning as you write, then you're not writing correctly. And that's kind of the reasons why it's important to like talk to yourself and stuff like that. People, oh, you talk to yourself. Everyone talks to themselves. It's fucking stupid. Anyone that says that it's uh, unnatural for people to talk to themselves whenever they're walking around the house or whatever is some sort of dumbass goober. It's probably someone that's very insecure about themselves, is what it is. Everyone does that. Don't worry about it. But it's important to do that because some people call it meditation. Like, everyone describes it differently, I guess. But it's important to be able to do that because it helps you develop. And as I sit here talking to you, like I'm not lecturing you. I'm actually talking to myself. You're just around for the ride. That's what it is. That's what it is for the most part. Let's move this a little bit further over. Desaturate it a little bit. There we go. That way it won't interfere too much with the primary image. Yeah, see, there's a train. You guys might not actually be able to hear that, but whatever. All right, let's finish this up. Then I'll add myself a little filter later on top of it, and we'll be done. If you ever wondered what goes on in my streams, I don't I don't talk this much. Normally it's just music. I like listening to music, and that's it. But that's about how it's done in the streams in terms of drawing. I'll just go through and try to finish something as fast as I can, and that one took about 2 hours and 20 minutes, but that's about it. Yep. This is definitely a Picardo-style drawing. Not too fancy. Pretty quickly done. Mainly just to have an outlet. Like, I draw as an outlet. It's lots of fun to me. Like, that was actually relaxing to me, be able to do that. The talking part, not so much. If I could get away with just playing music over these things, and you just watching me draw in real time, then I would definitely do that. And I do, because that's what Picardo is. Yay. Alright. But anyways, no summary here. Be better people if you feel like being better people. If you just want to go through your life just being some guy that picks up women and sleeps with them by lying about who you are or whatever, or if you're some lady that just wants to marry a rich guy and then never do anything and never improve as a person or explore yourself, I guess you can do that too. Although I would recommend that you listen to the song Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, because that's what that fucking song is about. Because she realized over time, oh, I'm actually just an accessory for my husband and I don't even know who I am anymore. So don't be that person either. I would invite you not to be that person. Although if you want to be that person, I won't like you, but that won't really matter, will it? Nope. It won't matter at all. Actually, yeah. I want to blend this out a little bit. Sometimes I do this too. We're like, I'm done. And then I see it. I'm like, no, there's something mildly that's not really even wrong, but I'm going to keep overworking the image anyways because I'm an asshole. I'm not an asshole, but you get the idea. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed listening to me ramble this whole time. I'm not going to enjoy uploading this because this is going to be a long-ass video, especially if I keep this in 60 frames per second. Then it's going to be even worse. Oh, that's going to be rough. Actually, hold on. I know what I could do. Let's try to improve this even further. By not much, I just need to adjust the lighting on her hair a little bit. There, it makes it pop a little bit more, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, I love making micro adjustments. Yes, I love micro adjusting. So fucking great! At this point, I'm sure you're standing over the computer. Oh, just shut up and stop so I can close this tab. I have other things I need to be doing. Just please stop. Nope. Sorry. Alright, I'm actually done now. Alright, there we go. Final product. Even put my pen away. I forced myself to. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed the drawing of Winnie. Say goodbye, Winnie. I probably should have said what the hell this... That's the thing I was going to do. I was going to talk about how I had an idea for a Ghoul School cartoon. And how... I'll just real fast. I had an idea for a Ghoul School cartoon where it's actually mainly about like self-uplifting things. Like Winnie's problem is that she's not very confident, and the whole like her episodes are about her gaining confidence and learning what she's good at and learning to accept that she doesn't actually want to be like a doctor or a philosopher or any stupid shit like that. And she just accepts, oh, I actually do just want to be a simple country gal that works on a wildlife preserve or whatever it is. And Sabella would have her thing, and Elsa would have her thing where she's trying to be a scientist, but she doesn't know how to get into it, and she doesn't have much exposure or encouragement and stuff. And it's mainly just them developing as young girls and learning to be better people as a result. It would have nothing to do with the relationships whatsoever. But there would also be a lot, of course, monster comedy of them, like, going through their weird problems of Elsa being an assembled Frankenstein monster, Isabella. I don't know if the blood thing would be okay for a cartoon, but... And of course, Winnie having her werewolfisms, wagging her tail, and so forth and so on. Lots of little monster humor, but not having it be the focus. Like, one of the things I didn't like about Gold School originally is all the dumb monster puns. Like, they're just too easy, and they stop being fun after a while. They get very old very quickly. And also the fact that they kind of... Like, oh, we don't eat real food. We eat shit off the floor, and we, like, drink slime and stuff. Like, I get it, they're weird or whatever. But that joke runs thin. Not only that, but it also distances you. As, like, you don't drink slime. So if the characters are all like that, you might go, ha ha ha. And then it's like, I would kind of wish they'd just eat real food ever so often. Because it's easier to project yourself into a relationship with a fictional character if, not like a relationship, if they actually seem like real people. So I would probably not crank their monsterisms up to 11 to the point that they're not even people anymore. But anyways, I was going to talk about that, but obviously I'm not going to now. But so this is the end of the video. But since I forgot about it, and I'll probably never do a Ghoul School thing again, I just wanted to mention that real fast. Okay, anyways, thank you guys for coming out. Blah blah blah. Coming out. You didn't come out for anything. You showed up for a video. Go away.